Hello, dear friends. This year, 2024, will be a turning point in the history of humankind. Opinion piece: Light versus darkness, good against evil, new celestial order, fire's confrontation, last cut of the wicked, creating a conflict in Europe, the sacred and the profane. 2024 will be a turning point. The end of an existential crisis starts. Let's start. The first description of the fight of good against evil is the conflict between the children of light and the children of darkness, written in the scrolls of the Dead Sea. This great battle between light and darkness is taking place as our planet transitions into the fifth dimension. The outcome is predestined. The light will win regardless, and it is just a matter of knowing what price humankind will have to pay for this victory and how long it will take, says Peter B. Mayer. As you can see, the wicked are trying to play their last card by unleashing a conflict in the European continent, because their previous attempts did not give the expected results, for which they are trying to provoke the bear in every possible way. 30% of the world's population has managed to defend the right to a free life. The food agenda has also stalled, especially in recent months, when European farmers protested en masse against their governments. Therefore, this year 2024 will be a turning point in the history of humankind and planet Earth. The light will be the winner, and it is only a matter of time. You can accelerate it with this decree: I am the light that shines in the darkness. Manuscripts. The Rule of War is one of the 7 original manuscripts found at Qumran in 1947. It describes a fierce confrontation where these two factions meet in combat on the day of the disaster amidst a tumultuous crowd and war cries. The children of light and the children of darkness are portrayed as adversaries locked in intense conflict, reflecting a dualistic view of the world that prevailed in ancient times. The Dead Sea Scrolls shed light on this ideological and potential literal battle between forces representing good and evil, light and darkness. It symbolizes a cosmic struggle that transcends mere physical combat and embodies deeper spiritual and philosophical themes embedded in these historic manuscripts. This battle unfolds in space-time and eschatological dimensions, culminating in a decisive victory for the children of light. The apocalyptic nature of this war is manifested in ancient literature, when the triumph of light over darkness is glimpsed, announcing the final victory and the arrival of a new celestial order. Conflict. In various cultures and religious traditions, this dualism between light and darkness has been a constant moral and spiritual paradigm, representing the struggle between the good and evil, the sacred and the profane. This symbolic contrast is reflected in multiple mythologies and religious texts, underscoring the eternal confrontation between opposing forces that seek to prevail in the universe. The children of light refer to those considered just, faithful, and guided by truth and virtue. On the other hand, the children of darkness represent those associated with evil, lies, and corruption. In this duality, the children of light embody truth and righteousness, while the children of darkness symbolize darkness, deceit, and evil. This moral dichotomy reflects a cosmic conflict between opposing forces struggling to prevail in the universe. This symbolism of light and darkness is a universal theme that transcends religious and cultural boundaries, manifesting a fundamental duality between opposing forces that has been explored in various sacred scriptures and spiritual texts throughout history. For example, in the Bible, we find references to light as a symbol of divine presence and truth. In the Gospel of John, Jesus presents himself as the light of the world, highlighting the idea that those who follow him will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Furthermore, In the book of Genesis, it is described how God separated light from darkness when creating the world, establishing the fundamental dichotomy between light and something good, beautiful and useful, and darkness and the negation of being, life, and truth. In religious traditions such as Christianity, mysticism, represented by St. John of the Cross, the concept of the dark night of the soul is explored as a metaphor for the spiritual process of purification and union with the divine through darkness and suffering. Hyperboria. Hyperboria was the northernmost land of the known world, so remote that it was considered beyond the north wind. It was the home of a legendary race which is known as the Hyperboreans, who worshipped the sun god Apollo. Hyperborea was believed to be an earthly paradise of eternal youth and abundance, but this distant land was so inaccessible to mere mortals that the Greeks believed that only demigod heroes like Hercules could visit it. Now begins the end of the existential crisis at all levels of human life, when each one must decide for himself where and with whom he wants to continue, towards the moral and physical abyss, or build a new life based on the motto of the universal, eternal, and immutable human values. Awareness. The dark forces do everything possible to prevent the connection with our spirit from being established. For this connection to remain permanently broken, or for the signal flowing into us to be as weak as possible. This is the reason why they promote the calcification of our pineal gland in every way possible. This undermines our natural creative spirit and overwhelms us with inaccurate information. This process has infected the entire media sphere through toxic information. Senseless tasks and objectives are imposed on us. Poverty and scarcity dominate the world. This situation focuses our attention on subsistence problems and distracts us from waking up, thinking critically, and seeing the things around us in their true context. When human beings are connected to their higher self, they act according to their conscience, as if by magic his entire life is suddenly transformed and takes on its true meaning. This awareness is the only way to escape from the great three-dimensional reality and be reborn in a world of higher evolutionary level. The personality change is enormous. From the shell of vain, narrow-minded, materialistic, and selfish individual suddenly emerges a self-aware and generous personality that acts according to his conscience and not for his own benefit. The third dimension reality is a trap for consciousness. Our spiritual nature is our only true form, and that is the power of secret societies to make us forget and, therefore, keep us captive. When people do not know the past, they are trapped and only see the illusion, which is not real. History. The various episodes in human history have occurred through a succession of alien colonies that exerted their territorial and cultural influence on planet Earth. In historical reality are found the answers to the question of who we are, where we come from, and how we evolved to become the beings we are today. A being that only has a soul and body is not fully evolved. All beings in the worlds of light are born with another element, consciousness. Every being that has consciousness can distinguish between good and evil. For a being without consciousness, this capacity is unknown and is replaced by a decision-making process that only distinguishes between what is advantageous and what is harmful. But what is advantageous can also mean cruelty and suffering for other beings. But this dimension of the predatory being is completely incomprehensible to individuals without conscience. Consciousness and knowledge are very different dimensions. The concept of good and evil is replaced in low-frequency beings by the factor of personal benefit or harm, without taking into account the impact on nature and the damage that their actions may cause on others. This clear distinction is completely lost in English, for example, where the term conscious includes both meanings. This makes it clear which is the oldest language. The language that can distinguish and define both terms or the language that simply mixes them. This is how deliberate ambiguity is created, which is one of the tools used throughout language degeneration. But cutting up the flowery and content-rich language that conveys the message of light and knowledge it gradually transforms into an austere, grey, and philosophically empty language. Messages. Message from Kierkegaard. It is time to release traumas, pain, feelings, and unworthiness. Release hope that the old normal will return, because it was nothing more than a prison of deception. Release the saving mentally and fear of God, because the true divine source is pure love. Puffner said, "The breaches of the wall continue. The things are tight with knots of the size of a goose egg. Not much information can be provided under these conditions. The situation has gone from tough to weak, back to tough, and so on. Everything is breaking down in small and large skirmishes. The transfer of power is a very complicated event, and the people who are fighting to the battle under pressure do not give up their efforts. We appreciate their efforts, and you should too. The deal makers are trying to make another one, but it hasn't gained much speed. Times drag, the people too, and the bankers are worried, and rightly so. Be careful with fireworks." Message from Bennett Ross. You have the ability to access the unlimited energy of the universe. It is an eternal source of strength, and you can draw on it for renewal and vitality. Laughter is a powerful tool to raise your vibrational energy, especially in times of difficulty. It is a universal language that transcends our struggles and uplifts our spirit. When we laugh, we release endorphins that improve our mood and reduce stress. Laughter promotes a greater sense of self with self-acceptance and peace, and provides much-needed balance to the weight of our challenges. Laughter is a natural antidote and increases our ability to bring positive change. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends. La madre.